specific, but not necessarily always relevant, but not necessarily like time specific, right? Something that's a lot more evergreen, something that I want us to think about throughout the year. So the first one is actually, before I get into the topic, right? So lots of things have happened since you last tuned into Pleasure Pulse. That was more than a month ago by this point. I hope that in your Christmas reflections, in your New Year's reflections, you thought about your sex life, sexuality, what desire, intimacy, pleasure, all of those things mean to you, along with all of your other New Year, new you thoughts, right? Or maybe New Year, same you, which is completely fine thoughts. So I hope that you will put sex in your plans, in your considerations, in your conversations too, right? Don't leave it all. Be as intentional about sex as you were about going to the gym on the 1st or 3rd of January. So the first topic that I want us to talk about, and let's see what happens in 9 months after Carnival Christmas season, right? You know, that's one I think of not just but lots of countries booming times where they see a lot of births that time, and Valentine's Day. So you see a lot of September, October, November babies. Yeah. So I want to talk about birth rates. So I've had this, conversations about birth rates and birth practices, reproduction in general, a few times with a few people over the last couple of days, because our Prime Minister posted something on Facebook and it kind of sent everybody into a frenzy. First of all, your thoughts. By the way, this is two girls, we're just girls. I'm talking about the girls who are not parents, not yet, not ever. I don't know. What are your thoughts on? I don't know, man. Still to be decided.
Okay.
Give us your thoughts.
Let me more the ones that we could discuss on the radio.
Yeah.
Those opinions.
Just opening thoughts.
For me, as a community, we have a lot more steps that we need to kind of address before we get to birth rates. Why not encourage, more marriages? Why not encourage more healthy relationships? Try to educate people more about parenting before we just jump into
have the babies.
Okay. What are we doing to help people with the babies? I guess, we'll find out when,
what they, policies.
But those are the thoughts that are coming to my mind when I see that about the birth rate. I kind of feel like it's a lot of conspiracy theories being thrown out here. Because do we really have a problem with the birth rate?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just not educated about it. I actually had a conversation with someone today, and they said that the issue is not the birth rate, it's the rising death rate compared to the number of births. So I don't know. But our Prime Minister threw it out there, so I'm guessing that when he speaks more to the policy, he'll speak more about
the stats and the reality,
the issue, and what's the rationale about wanting to increase the number of births.
It's an interesting conversation. It's not a new conversation because countries all around the world have been seeing a decline in their birth rates for a while. And some countries kind of manufactured the issue that they're seeing now, and so now they're trying to correct. They're trying to correct the situations that they cause for themselves, you know, like countries that prioritize boy children as opposed to girl children, and now they end up with all these men with no straight men with no partners, and imbalance in your demographic distribution, like all sorts of things, right? And I hear you completely when you say that there are a few steps to get there, and I'm sure that that will be part of the policy. And I think
but would it though? I mean,
yeah, it can't be. So for example, if you say you talk to somebody and they pointed out that a part of it too is the numbers of deaths proportionate to the numbers of births, then it also means that that policy, part of it, as a complement to it, should be something addressing a high death rate, because I imagine we're not talking only about, you know, older people who are dying. We're talking about younger people who are dying as well, and dying from preventable issues or complications and so I imagine that will be part of it. So I await it, but I was kind of happy to see so many people participating in the conversation and being like
for me, yeah. I mean, I was just like, when I saw that, I was like, gosh, she wants me to be a teen mom. Like, what's going on
at my young age?
Like, what are we doing?
That's an interesting point, because a friend and I, last year sometime, I think it was November. So this is before he posted this. We were talking about both of us being child-free, at least up to this point. And how, like, jokingly saying that the abstinence only sex education we got in high school is still effective, not in the abstinence only part of it, but you know, it was really stressing pregnancy prevention, and here we are, living proof
that it was really effective,
that it worked, like up to now, still avoiding pregnancy because of some of the information that we received then. And I just see a lot of memes, you know, about it, but especially among millennial generations, you find people either delaying, like really delaying when they will have children,
but is
or
it
avoiding it.
Is it intentional? Like,
is it intentional?
Like,
a lot of it.
I'm not gonna have
a lot of it.
Okay.
Like, so you and I, we're in the same generation, I think, but I have what year you born?
I'm 1995.
Okay, yeah, we're in the same generation, but I have you. Like, I was
like 4 years old.
I was basically out of high school when you just fifth form and you were in first form. That's different, like, socially, and different. I mean, I say like values wise, but different socially, right? So you are just at 30. I am like mid 30s, which is, you know, you're like, if you go to a gynecologist and you talk about having children, the conversation would be very different with you than it would be with somebody your age.
I guess maybe because you're like getting to that age where,
where they have convinced us that even though it's not
right now,
even though it's not true. So like, I remember our conversation I had with a gynecologist. This was maybe like 2 years ago, and she was like, "Yeah, decide by 35," you know. And I don't think people in the 30s,
like, by 35 you should have a kid. That's
you should know, like, that's, give yourself up to that point to have one. I mean, you could obviously have one after, but I think there's a lot of, like, still misinformation about what reproduction really looks like in different bodies. But anyways, being into that, I think the point that I was making is that, like, people my age, maybe around my age, my age and older, I know way fewer people with children than with children. Some people don't plan to have children. Some people have children that they were always saying they would not have. So like they were always like, I'm not into children. And then, you know, a pregnancy happened and they, you know, went through with the pregnancy, so on. They were open to it when things shifted. A lot of people I know have not found partners, like adequate partners to have children with. And obviously, you know, in this conversation we're talking a lot about heterosexual people. So yeah, a lot of people, it's like they're ready to have a child, they're looking to have one, but they're not in relationships, and they would prefer to be in, you know, a stable relationship or marriage before they have children.
I don't know. Like I mean, this is more like for me, maybe because, you know, I look more at the culture of people. Like I wouldn't say I'm in the party scene, but I do be going to the fence.
You do, yes. You kind of, okay, you're on the perimeter of the party scene.
So I'm looking at the age group of the people who are in the parties, and it's still very much, I would say, you could even find like maybe mid-40s to, you know, early 20s in these spots. And I mean, we have a really like heavy party culture in St. Kitts. So I'm saying that to say, like, people who are in the mindset of like partying, enjoying life and this thing, I don't see people really trying to focus
having babies.
Right.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of things resources wise to address before I think people even start to consider you know, having kids. As you said, like the education we got was like, you know, make sure you're financially prepared to have a child. So I think for a lot of people, they're like, well,
I'm still not financially prepared.
Right.
Yeah.
They're probably looking at, well, if I just have to, my beauty upkeep is this amount of money, my bills is this amount of money, how am I gonna afford a child?
Look at how much it costs to build a house. Like when me and this child don't live.
So superficial saying like beauty.
I know. People have. Well, when you said it, I was like, Lord, they're going to say, see, they always want to spend their money on weaves. But it's like, people can spend their money on what they want to spend their money on.
Listen, I think, but when we get into what we take in,
people also want to spend money on vacations and traveling.
I think, like, for women especially, like, this kind of idea when you have a child, you just need to like, all your good days gone. That ain't done with. So you're gonna have to find a balance. Like even now in today's conversation with like births and so on, things like postpartum depression and these things are coming, you know, into the conversation where women talk about losing themselves after having a child, because it's like their network or their support,
the village, the community. So, where's that?
So that's why I say, like, we have a lot of things to address before we get to this point about increasing the birth rate. But I don't want to get to it.
It's an interesting thing because, you know, the topic of the village has come up too in some of my past conversations, because it's kind of like if you have a child, you almost have to be prepared to raise that child on your own, because in many situations you can't even count on the person with whom you have what is the word, created the child, right? So you have to, it's like people are saying, especially I think women are like, I have to be able to look after me and this baby or these babies on my own income because I can, like, you know, it is I don't live with family, you know, I live Bastia and my family lives St. Paul's. You know, I move out however long ago, blah, 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 blah. And like when everybody used to live in the yard or you just live next door, like there's so much like socially and culturally that has changed too. It's like if you have, because your community could have also been your friends, your community used to be a great grandmother or a grandmother who was retired. Now the grandmother, all of them in therapy.
Exactly.
Shout out to Tara, you could sponsor.
Even still, I'm not saying like the birth rate thing is a conspiracy thing, even though I do believe that. No. But not, like, besides that, there are still people getting kids.
Yeah,
like that. Let's not be fooled.
It's lower.
Parents are in the party too.
Ready to run?
We don't. Some of them does read.
That's why them babysitting services popped up. Too,
some of them does read in the party, so but that's another conversation. But I don't really. I just. I think for me, it's
you
not.
You need to see the statistics.
Like, yes, I can say that, of course, the birth rate definitely has decreased, but is it that significant of an issue to where we need to step in and be like, whoa, we definitely need more babies?
Well, it's also looking at trends, and worldwide trends are looking lower and lower, I think, except for some country. I think maybe Nigeria and a few other countries in Africa are like their only, I think it's Nigeria, and the only
just realistically speaking, I don't see how anyone could realistically encourage the increase in births.
You mean?
Like, we culturally, we have shifted so much, like with movements like feminism, you know, the feminist movement, you know, all these different things that we have happening now, to where people are really educated about the impact of parenthood on someone's development, not just mentally, spiritually, everything. I mean, my parents, I think they were married by 24.
Yeah.
And had their first child by probably the same age. So shotgun wedding, who knows? But I was just like, me at 25 with a kid, like,
I'm a baby. I'm a baby.
Crazy. Like, by this age, no. I think they would have already had 3 kids by now, because they had me when they were
not Nigeria, Niger, Angola, Mali, and Somalia. They said those are the ones leading.
Yeah, but my parents had 3 kids.
Yeah.
And at my age.
Yeah.
And that's ridiculous.
Yeah. My mother had me at 29, and when 29 came, I was like,
you don't see,
it's not going to happen. And 29 came, and it passed, and I was like, in which world could I have a baby? Like, babies change.
So are you against or for, or if it happen, it happen?
You mean me personally?
Yeah.
Good question. I am not actively trying. I am.
So you're not against it?
I don't know. I'm still on the fence.
You're not like, oh, yeah, like, yeah, we gotta make a baby tonight.
Yeah, I'm on the fence.
Okay.
So when, you know, PM posted that, I was like, hey, me. Someone else is gonna have to take this one, because I'm on the fence. And I feel like the person that I am, I would want to be
intentional about it.
Yeah, and more sure than unsure. Right. Like, I don't want to be in the middle. Right. I want to be leaning more to the open to it, because I know that having a baby does change. Like, the lifestyle I live, I leave my cat at home, and why do you pour water? I'm like, you're good. And I come back when I come back. I can't do that to a baby. You know, I want to be going to different places, but just to feed them to just get up. Like, because I, as much as I have told my mother, if I have a baby, it's her baby. It's gonna still be my. It's gonna still be my baby.
The personality type that gets easily overwhelmed, and it just.
She's gonna have to learn. She's going to.
Yeah, I mean,
the grandparents want grandchildren. They're gonna have to learn. They're going to have to learn. So, I think, you have to be open to accepting some shift in your life when you have a child. I know a lot of persons, say that don't think like you said, it's not that your life ends. Your life just changes, right? And you have to be open to what that change means, especially for the first however many years of the child's life, when they might need you more than later on in life, at least physically present. So, and if you want to live the kind of life you used to live, where you used to just pick up and go and travel, and so then it means you have to be making enough money to accommodate like another person in all of that. You have to be prepared for the inconvenience of another person existing around you and needing things that might be different to what you need or want in the time. So there is but I think, going back to something that you were talking about,
I would say, so like, when you were speaking, like, something that came to my mind, and like this is more from my side, like from a health aspect, like, I know that when I have a child, I have to have a C-section birth. That is something that the doctors told me it's gonna have to happen. And I mean, maybe for some, a C-section birth might be a much easier recovery, but for me, I know it's going to be a lot more involved in something like that. Even like the nutritional aspect, because my body, I have certain deficiencies with certain nutrients. So with a baby in play, all these things now, I'm really gonna have to like be more connected with doctors. It's gonna be a bit more serious. It's not to say I can't have a baby or anything like that, but it's going to be a lot more involved and more strain on me than the average woman, and pregnancy is already a strain.
Right. So there is the actual physiological process of bringing
a child. I think they said, like, for our, like, what they call it, like, mortality rate for persons who actually bring kids is low in saying kids.
It's not high.
It's not high
here.
So I mean, but I'm just thinking, like, things like that, we have to be more considerate of, like, women. Maybe a lot of them are choosing to delay and maybe not have kids because of like whatever health challenges also that they may have. And there are some who are trying and have fertility issues, and it's not like we have the world of resources here for that fertility can help. I think that. Recently, like very, very recently, they opened up like I think it's Peekaboo. So I think they deal with fertility as well.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
I think, but I don't know the extent as to what their fertility services.
I know a lot of people go to like Barbados. Barbados has a clinic.
But I mean, these are things that we're now going to have to consider, like fertility. Like we need more resources in that area as well.
Whatever it is, will have to be holistic, like from the physical body to the social and cultural and economic factors, and it's not going to be short term. Like it ain't gonna change.
Well, maybe when I'm thinking, like, when the policy and stuff is actually out there, maybe we could have a conversation about
hopefully it. Maybe we could invite the Prime Minister, since he's the Minister of Health, and he can be like, walk us through it. Tell us what you were thinking, because as you were talking earlier, and it made me think about your parents at their age when they got married and had 3 children versus you and your age. And so I was thinking about how values, not how values are transmitted, but what values were transmitted to us, because
the value was to not have a kid.
Yeah,
like I like, you know, I'm like, I love my parents, of course. So I'm like, I had no business in it. Dying,
but
none.
It's interesting because I think there was a point. Not I think there definitely was a point at which, if you didn't have a child as a person with a uterus, you were like shunned, you know, because that was your sole duty and purpose in life, to bear children. That changed a while now, and our parents who would have had us and experienced different things, you know, in their relationships while they were growing up, taught us different values. For them, it was like, focus on school, career, build yourself, education, be better than I was. It wasn't really, no, this is how you build a home. This is how you get a family.
And could I say too, like, I think, generally speaking, for our culture as well, we aren't taught to, like, think you need a partner or you're gonna do this as a union with someone. Like the education in the schools and at home was like, you need to be able to take care of yourself, you know. So it's very much like, I mean, I won't say it's selfish. Maybe we're more individualistic in how we go about life now. So as I said, like, a lot of things culturally like that, they kind of built in us. We're gonna, I don't want to say some unlearning.
Yeah, it's I don't, and that's, you know, I think that's why I like sex education and sexuality education as a good model, and not just that, but focusing on, so I believe good sex is the key to a good life. It doesn't mean that you have to be having sex. I mean, when I say good sex, I mean a good sexual life, good sexuality, good sexual health, good sexual understanding of your desire, of pleasure, of communication, of negotiation, of boundaries, of advocacy, of agency, autonomy. All of those things, I think, help you to create a good life. And I think if there was a lot more honest and accurate information about like healthy relationships, and so we might have seen some difference in at least people's perception or approach to these things, because a lot of, I feel like, the feelings or attitudes, reactions to these topics is like me, as opposed to, I've thought about it and I've decided, you know, it's not for me. It's like very fear-based, very hurt focused, you know, like, may want to be in a situation where it's like that, as opposed to just, I'm in a healthy relationship and we have decided not to have a child. I'm in a healthy relationship and we have decided to have a child. And I think that we're going to have to not plant the seeds now, but, you know, do differently with this generation, because Gen Z answer is predicted to have even fewer.
No, but I that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm seeing it, and like, that's not how we're being raised.
Yeah.
So I think I told you earlier, like, I think we're gonna have to introduce arranged marriage. No, but think about it, like, it makes so much sense.
Yeah, it should I say it? Well, you know, arranged marriage come with all kinds of problems aside.
Right, maybe arranged marriages is too heavy. It's too heavy. Maybe, like, you know, like back in the good old days of like Bridgerton and stuff,
where you had to come court the person.
Right.
Our families would be like,
right.
Have
yes.
People still do that. Rich people.
But maybe we need to do it.
Yeah, I think we need to raise better people, especially better men. We need to raise better men. We need to raise better people. And we need to teach earlier about healthy relationships.
But so you would, like, if you have a child and your friend have a child, and like maybe you're like, oh, we have to get these two connected, so you keep them close.
So we have to teach about healthy. Remember, we had a pregnancy pact.
We did, and then I was telling me. I mean, first thing first. If you ever watch the movie Pregnancy Pact, them teenage girls never had no business getting a child. And that's why I say, like, we was in our 20s. We were a teen mom.
Yeah, I remember when I was a teenager, I used to be writing on baby names and so. So there was a point where the thought of having a baby.
It was in the trenches.
There was a thought, man, a time when having a baby for a person was like the ultimate symbol of like love and connection and commitment. I would and say stuff.
Like seeing my sister being a mom and everything, that made me like, ooh,
yeah. I was like I would try one of these out. Yeah, I just want to try it.
But like me, I was never the type of girl to even have like a baby dolly. I'm not saying like I don't want kids, but it's like I don't think about kids. I'm thinking about what can Deloma do to but I did have a relationship, and the guy was like, he wants a child. And I was
sometimes you're like, I feel like it has fluctuated with me based on the person, which is concerning and something that I need to think more about. Like, am I having this child for me or for them? And also I think it's been like, I have been in relationships where I know I would absolutely never have a child with this person. And I think I know people in relationships are in situations where they're like, I definitely would not reproduce with this person, but they're still in the situation. So it's an interesting thing, like people in situations where it's like, I like you, we cool, but this step is not something I'm willing to take with you, though I might take it with somebody else. Anyways, I think another thing that could be changing, how relationships and birth and reproduction and all of those things happen. We say we're talking about mostly heterosexual people, but the visibility of LGBTQIA plus relationships and options for people who ain't doing penis in vagina sex to also have babies of their own. Right, so
is this like adoption,
IVF, because if they want to have biological children, there have to be
like
options.
Maybe one partner,
for that
female,
for that to happen.
IVF.
A person with a uterus.
These things, we don't even have these things available to
we
us.
don't even have a thought.
But I'm
saying all of these things because we also are going to see if people who want children, the main reason for their not having children is that they don't have a partner, then there are still ways to have children, biological children without partners. So how are we making those things available and accessible? Like, are we getting discounts on flights? Book a flight for this IVF treatment and you get some, something. But I think, the conclusion is definitely there's lots to consider. That's before we get to the point of people actually reaching up the hospital to give birth. And I think one thing is I haven't seen enough people make parenting look attractive. Some people, but it's like I'm a very Disney kind of person, right? So it's like, you see, Christy Scott and Desmond are getting divorced. You don't know them?
No, I know, but like, did that look fun to you? I mean, okay, well, I don't want to get.
That was kind of wild, but yeah.
Kind of. I sometimes I'm scared to share my thoughts because I'm like, am I a pick me?
A baby?
A pick me.
Whisper them to me and.
So I'm like, well, I wasn't like when I would see my thing, I was just like, ugh. This
Okay.
So and like I realized like a lot of people are calling like people who said like, well, she seems so annoying, and it was like, oh, you're a pick me.
Yeah, I saw. Oh.
So anyway,
yeah. Are you a girl's girl or not? Yeah.
Because for me, if I had a boyfriend doing that kind of like at some point,
be judgmental, but that wasn't even the point. The point was, being very Disney, very. A very romanticized kind of idea of, when like the person is pregnant and they have on neutral tones and they're walking in fields of daisies and sunflowers. Like, that's what I imagine.
Like even like looking at TLC had this show, like where they would show women's birthing journey. I remember Auntie Charlotte used to have it on a lot, like when she was having Bidanja.
Maybe
remember. My baby story, something like that. So it's like even looking like how you would have such a supportive and involved father in the process of parenthood and, well, not just parent, but the birthing. I mean, really,
so that, like, back to what we were saying about healthy relationships and
well, let me not, because I do have a friend who recently had a baby, and like I would say they do give couple goal vibes, like, and she has, I think she told me, like, and I think really was helpful.
I think the health center, may want to say it wrong, but I think something I was looking at and it looked like, well, not just here too, but outside of St. Kitts and Nevis, there are some places where there are some men that are getting a lot more involved in birth and so. But even that, parental leave, paternity leave, especially like before we get to birth rate and so, like. I think a huge part of it is, one, economics. Well, let me not say a huge part. Huge parts of it. Economics, the fear of doing it alone, the actual physical process and the toll that it might take, on your body. Just the shifting values. So all of those things will.
Yeah. And I mean, like, on social media, we are seeing things like, well, I guess the more wealthier persons, they have things like they go to these postpartum hostels and these kind of things.
Is it somewhere in Korea? Is it South Korea?
Korea, Dubai.
But that's is also a common thing for South Korea, like a practice.
Certain cultures.
So do we have something like that? Do we need something like that? Even I see some videos sometimes, like from the US and other places, where like if there's a new mother, the neighborhood would come together and cook the meals for the next month or whatever. There's actually also no paid services where you could order meals for expectant parents to, serve them for like a week, whatever. So it's like the things that people used to do for free, like in community, has evolved. So what does the birth experience, the parenthood journey look like for the average Kittitian and Nevisian, and how can we make that attractive enough to make people want to participate?
And it's not only about making it attractive. Can I say improving the quality of life? For the kind
of making it sorry, but
because we're bringing up life, and that's the thing. We can't just look at it as numbers and so on. We're bringing a life, a human,
responsible,
forever. a lot more care
Yeah.
goes into rearing a human.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
And you also talked about how we parent too. Like, how can we institutionalize gentle parenting? I know everybody's like, gentle parenting.
What's that?
Gentle parenting, conscious parenting. It's contrary to what people believe, where it's like a free for all, no discipline, you do whatever you want. It is very intentional, very thoughtful, very mindful. It uses like developmental science and so understanding how children grow and develop the different parts. So
gender?
no, just their brain functioning. So the parts of your brain that develop at different times, the behaviors that you exhibit and how they might be age appropriate and signs of whatever. You know, like how people, like, there'll be a 1-year-old. I remember a time I was in a supermarket and somebody had a 1-year-old, and the 1-year-old was maybe crying, and they were like abusing the child and was like, "You're so rude," and so. And I was like, "The baby just came." Like, the baby don't know. First of all, the baby can't talk.
Who is, like, the people around or the parents?
The family of the baby. So
okay,
it's
so we don't know.
It's about a 1-year-old. So it's also like, I think the support that parents have to be better parents.
Right.
The education that people have to be
like even about disciplining a child
knowing that you don't have to beat up the child for the child to hear you. There are alternatives, and saying yes I am, and saying what those alternatives are.
There's so much about you.
Yes, I am. I believe in non-violence, especially because I'm like, first of all, violence is a cycle, and we don't associate the violence that we mete out to children and the violence that they in turn can mete out to others as they grow or while they're small, or the violence that they themselves can receive as adults, because it's a cycle. So like
you when you get a child, you're gonna be one of them problematic parents. Not teach a clean my child.
That's not what we're talking about. No. But I would hope that by that time, because there are so many books about raising children, teaching children.
I mean, even that, like, maybe all these things that people don't even realize, like, we have, people like you who have a different idea or perspective in terms of like what discipline and these kind of things should look like, but would that translate into what is currently being done in our educational system?
I think in the education system, I think it is the same now, but I know it shifted where only the principal could beat you, or the deputy principal. So like every teacher can be only designated teacher
like that
could be. And like, should we talk about how corporal punishment is a leftover thing from enslavement? Like, should we? We don't have time for it. But there are other. I know, like in our house, they would talk about how, some teachers only used physical punishment or corporal punishment as a last resort. But even as a last resort, like, that really you still have some things to do. And even when people tell you, I get lecture, look how good I turn out. Did you really?
Questionable.
Did you really? So I think, but these things have to be learned. Right? And they have to be unlearned. So you can't expect people just to know how to raise children. Like, where do you start? Like, you have the idea, like, okay, you put the baby on the nipple and they're supposed to feed. Sometimes they don't even want to do that. So
it could be a lot of things.
I'm just saying the very basic. And supposedly, like,
they have to teach you how to breastfeed.
They have to teach. So it's like raising, as people always say, raising children doesn't come with a manual, but we could start to create lessons, and we don't even have to create them, because there's like decades of child development research that we could use to go into how we want to raise the next generation of kitchens and divisions, and we never got to the next topic.
That's not Gen Z. What do they call them?
I think it's is there something after Gen Alpha?
Man,
I think so, you know.
We're gonna be the new parents.
Gen Alpha is early 2010s to the mid 2020s, so that's Gen Alpha. That's this is the no generation, I guess. Yeah. Nice. So the next topic was supposed to be more of and less.
Well, we could just
just do some highlights, and we could connect it to what we've talked about here, you know, because we're talking about healthy relationships, and of course that is, I mean, for people who want to be in healthy not for people who want to be, for people who want relationships, for them to be healthy, right? And we're talking about romantic relationships, but all relationships, romantic and otherwise, we want those to, you know, be supportive, encouraging, safe spaces where people can, even if they say problematic things, where that could be corrected with love and with gentleness. I sound very airy-fairy, kind of. Oh, okay. I'll keep going. More honest communication. So, you know, in relation to what we've been talking about, birth rate and so, talk to the person that you're with. If pregnancy is a possibility for you, because some of us are in relationships lucky, where pregnancy not gonna happen and ain't a concern. But if it is a possibility, talk about where you are, because y'all might be on the same page, you might be on different pages. Talk about it. So more honest communication, more learning about sex, right? So don't just learn about sex on Tuesday nights. Learn about sex Wednesday night, Thursday night, Saturday night, all the nights, right? Especially
so just learn a lot about
learn a lot about it, especially to see, you know, some of the things that we've been taught and told are true that might not really be. More curiosity. Let's be more curious. Let's ask more questions. What's on your mind, you know? Like, what do you like?
What have you done before?
Yeah. This thing happened with your body when we were doing. Has that happened before? Did you like it? Like, more curiosity. More humor. I find people don't laugh enough when it comes to sex. Like, for some people, it'll be like a mood killer. But it's like, sex is funny.
Really?
Yeah, because bodies do such funny things.
No,
like creeps.
So like they have people
creeping
who
is
like
funny. Sorry.
And it's like, whoa, we going there?
Look up queefing if you never heard of queefing. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm pretty sure we'll do our Rama culture. People have.
They might not know the term for it, like smegma. You know what smegma is?
Yeah.
Cheese. Yeah. I was gonna say people might know it only as cheese. So yeah. Sorry, you were going to say.
I don't even know what I was going.
When I was like more humor, and then I said queef, and then you were like,
I don't know. What would I like more of? It's not really sex related. I think. How about we not focus on like getting into relationships?
I didn't even know what you're saying.
Let's just focus on ourselves, getting to know ourselves better, discovering what we like. Because I feel like a lot of like women, and this is what I'm realizing, like their sexual journey, they only really tap into that once they're experiencing sex with somebody. So like they learn what they like and they don't like from having sex with someone. And I think that's bad, because then when you enter, or if you have to go into another relationship, then you'll be comparing the sexual experience you had with this person to this person. And realistically, everybody's body is different. What people do would be different. Sizes, smells, touch, it's different. But you're supposed to know what you like. So, like, maybe what touch, you more prefer. I don't know.
Yeah.
But just focus on yourself.
Yeah, and how you can have that information to share with new partners, if you have those new partners, even before you get into the sex, right? So that could be, if you decide to, have sex with somebody, get in a relationship with somebody, that could be information that you share. That could be part of your conversation to decide if me and you, like, on the same page about whatever, and not like to say they should necessarily become your non-negotiables. No, but it's information that you can share. I think that's a good point, though, like, just generally learning ourselves more and alone, like, independently of other people. And when you talked about, not necessarily getting into relationships but learning ourselves, I was also like, even if you're in a relationship, defocusing sex, right? Like, I don't want to say decrease the value placed on sex, not devalue it, but decrease the value placed on sex, if that's something that you're open to. Because a lot of times, like, we're in situations or be in relationships with people, and all that we could say we like about them is their body parts. Like, what about intimacy? Is not like physical intimacy. Sexual intimacy is one kind of intimacy, right? There's emotional intimacy, spending time together, getting to know each other, talking about weird stuff, like having a conversation, like pleasure pulse.
Getting to know the person outside of the
person. Getting to know
I think like a lot of couples, like, I know if I didn't have a good bedroom life, I probably would not have been toughing this one out. So
work on your conversation. You're out at dinner, like, do you have things to talk about? I'm always like to my partner, if we went on a game show, could we win?
And that is a deal breaker. Like, if we can't win Jeopardy,
do I know enough about you?
If you can't be
always like the outside at once, but I'm always thinking it. Yeah. Do I know enough about you to win a game show? Consider that. Like, use that as a metric. More boundaries and respecting boundaries. More using your words. Like, people not mind readers. Say what you want. If you ain't in the mood, say you're not in the mood. If you're hungry, say you're hungry. If you're just eating your belly full and you're gonna be making that sound, say so. Like, just communicate. What about less of? Do you have any more ofs before I go into yes of, and then we wrap up?
More ofs? Not that could jump out of my mind. That, I mean, I don't know. I think I kind of learning, like, we can't really make resolutions and so on. We could just only really try to work on ourselves.
Yeah.
What I would like to do more of this year is just be more health conscious and eating healthier. I'm a gym baddie now, as you can see, but I think for me,
you've been for a while.
Yeah, for carnival. Okay. But then, I'm like, I'm really trying to make this a lifestyle change, but eating healthier. Like, you can, because, we're going to have to increase the birth rates. We have to learn how to cook and feed the kids healthy. We can't be giving them pizza.
And you see how we talked about the cost of things.
Listen.
So you want us to have babies? Lower the cost of grapes.
Listen, you see the price of a kiwi? One kiwi. Listen, we're gonna have. I don't know.
And I had to split this kiwi.
You gotta
to get a baby.
Exactly.
Baby ain't not gonna kiwi.
They can just get mango. What is good?
Get something else. I don't know what I'm gonna get, but the kiwi can be for me. Anyways, yeah.
So I don't know. I just let's focus on learning about sex. Go out and educate yourself about sex by sex books, erotic fiction. I was actually thinking, like, Eric Jerome Dickey, he passed away, and I was like, there is no good black, well, I don't know, so I need to learn about black erotica now,
because Eric Jerome Dickey was then you had Zane.
I think it's because I'm in a phase where I won't say I'm not interested in relationship. I just can't deal with people. Like, I just want peace.
Okay, so you like kind of finding alternatives.
Peace. Yeah, more peace. So then I was like,
I thought you said more burpees.
No,
you really?
No,
more peace.
More peace. So I'm not saying I can't deal with anyone, but it's like if I see,
my theme for this year is only love. Yeah, only love. So anyway, so just to wrap up, less judgment. Less judgment, less shame. So we could get into some of these things more deeply. Less stereotyping,
less arguing. We're gonna have conversations, as you said.
We're going to communicate. So we have issues, we're not gonna hold them in and let them fester and so on. So we can communicate in adult ways.
You hold the person's hand and say, hey, this is how I felt when this happened. Don't say, you do this and you make me feel
they say
you say, this is how I felt when this happened. You're not trying to say the person caused it.
But when this happens, it really makes me feel.
Right.
Yeah. And then the person might be, hopefully, able to receive that. But what's the word? Relationships work, and relationships take constant communication and conflict resolution, and the presence of conflict doesn't mean unhealthy. It's how you deal with that conflict. So learn to deal with conflict in healthy ways.
Right. Less spending money on men and more traveling. We forgot to add in that one, so just straight out there,
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Any final words? We've talked about the birth rate. We talked very briefly about some of our more of and less of.
No, I mean, we're at the start of 2026. Kind of. But I just wish positivity on everyone. I was thinking, like, what does Roma call her fan base for pleasure pulse? The vibrators? The pulsers? I don't know. You read the name. But anyways, I just hope the little vibrators out there, you guys. Think love, peace, positivity. Yeah. That's all I'm wishing on you guys for 2026.
Love that. And in addition to us, separate from, the more of and less of that we've shared with you, I hope that you will spend some time thinking about...
pleasers.
Huh?
The pleasers.
The pleasers?
No. The vibrators did it for me now.
Okay. I liked pulses. Not really? Okay. Let's workshop it.
Yeah.
Let's workshop it. And if somebody out there got an idea, come and tell us. I hope you spend some time thinking about writing down what some of the things that you're wanting to do more of in 2026, and some of the things that you want to do less of in 2026. That could be some things that you're taking with you, or some things that you're leaving, some new things that you want to introduce, and some things that ain't really serving you that you want to kind of rest on and move on. Don't let nobody make you feel guilty for wanting to evolve. Like evolution, a friend of mine told me evolution seems to be her word for 2026, and evolving is a part of living, right? So don't let nobody shame you for that. If people want constantly bring you back to the 2025 you, that might be a sign for you to
walk away and more walking away
when a
situation doesn't serve you.
If it doesn't serve you, live it. Like I said, only love. And that's all kinds of love. I discovered this word, queer platonic, and y'all can look it up. Okay, I didn't discover it like Columbus.
Well, what is
I learned of it. It means, okay, you have platonic, meaning like friendly, not romantic. Queer platonic is this deep connection that you feel to your platonic people, your platonic relationships, or in your platonic relationships.
So platonic didn't suffice?
No, because it's like deeper than that. I feel like platonic is kind of like, we just cool. Queer platonic is like, we cool and I want to build a life with this person, but we ain't having sex on them things. It's not romantic. So it's like, I would love to share my world with this person.
So an example of that, I think they said like 4 friends, female friends.
Yeah.
They agreed
bought a house together, raised their children together. If they,
they did.
Okay, they had the children. Okay, yeah.
I think the version that I saw,
they
did it like when they were heading into like their older years.
Oh, yeah. Like that. Like, like living life. As opposed to just, platonic is like, I live over here, you live over here, we see each other.
Well, I'm going to just say this right now. I won't be living with any of my friends. I'm sorry, it's not happening over here.
That's a story for another day.
Yeah.
A story for another day. But, yeah, so, like I said, only love and all of the nice things Deloma wished you as well. I hope that 2026 turns out to be a blessing for all of us in all of the ways that it can be. Create joy, choose joy, find joy, evolve, all of those things. And I look forward to what 2026 has in store for us, the vibrators, the pulsers,
the pleasers.
Yeah. So thank you all for tuning in, and I will see you next Tuesday. Bye.
Rise Up Radio, entertaining the nation, enjoyed by the world. Get ready to ignite your Tuesday nights with a show that's as educational as it is entertaining. Welcome to Pleasure Pulse, your weekly guide to the world of sex education. Join Roma every Tuesday night from 8 to 9 p.m.